What's happening, everybody? We welcome you back to another episode. Hey, look, two episodes in one full season means that I am starting to balance this whole parent and work thing. And so, yes, last time you saw us, it was the start of football playoffs. Now, some of the finals are one of the finals is happening 3.5 hours after we record this. So, hey, you get what you get. We're trying. The intern is over there watching Elmo. He is on the hunt for there's a cat that lost its owner. So they're trying to see, we will keep you updated to see if they reconnect with the owner by the end of the episode. But Bodie DeSilva is here from the San Diego Union Tribune. He is taking a few moments off of doing a soccer season preview, which I think is pulling teeth for Bodie because historically he has done men's and women's basketball so fluently and thoroughly throughout the winter season. But it's good to see him diversifying his portfolio. Bodie, thank you for joining us. Let's jump right into D6 and we will go from there. Let me pull up the brackets right now. St. Joseph's Academy and Calvin Christian. Any thoughts on the D6 championship?
Yeah, I think not surprising to see St. Joseph be dominant, a 60-point win. But I think on the bottom, interesting, we've known Foothills Christian to be so dominant in eight-man in recent years. So for them as the two seed to lose to Calvin Christian, I think clearly shows that Calvin's a legitimate team here. Now it'll take a lot of work to see what they can do against St. Joseph's. But yeah, I think just really just having new blood is something to look at there. And they did play roughly what final week of the regular season, and it was a dominant St. Joseph win. But we've seen those happen before. End of regular season, come playoffs, some things change, and we'll see if that's the case here.
Yeah, for me, the big difference is you St. Joseph scored 66. Calvin Christian scored 50 in the
Yeah.
semifinals, but the defensive side, St. Joseph's only allowed 6 and Calvin Christian allowed 34. So to me, that's the differentiator is that I give the nod to St. Joseph's in that, you know, somebody's got to defense wins championships is one of the mottos around here. On to 5AA, which if anybody from these teams watches this before the game happens, congratulations. You are one of our most dedicated consumers. Calipatria and Coastal Academy, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think with Calipatria, it's kind of just all worked out perfect. Them getting the one seed here, getting that bye, then getting a solid win to get past there. And I think kind of like the last one, Coastal as that three seed, getting the win over the two. But I think this sets up again for Calipatria here to certainly go in as the favorite. I'm not going to crown them already, but I do like Calipatria to win Division 5 AA.
Yeah, and to go from Holtville winning it last year to Calipatria potentially winning it this year, it shows that 5AA is serving a certain portion of the San Diego football demographics. We'll talk about, doing a postmortem podcast after the whole football season is over, but there's not a ton of the small schools left in any of the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
So to see 5AA serving that small school sort of isolated area. Coastal Academy obviously is a little bit more central to the actual mainline San Diego geographically, but if it could go from from Holtville to Calipatria, my apologies, a lot of teams bouncing around in my head. I think that is a sign that 5AA works. Coastal Academy, also a small school,
Yeah.
would not be a disservice to the division, but I think it's just interesting to see both number one seeds potentially. And then that sets up Calipatria to be in the D3 playoffs next year at the rate that they're going. So
Too much math.
yeah.
I'll let everyone else figure that one out.
On to Division 5. 5 through 1 are all in the semifinals this week. Then we'll close out with the Open Division finals. Monta Vista is the first of the semifinals, and then Crawford Bonita Vista is the second of the semifinals. Vista being the number one seed, you would maybe give them the nod that they are, you like the number one seed until they're not the number one seed. But I love the fight that Monta Vista, the 12 seed, has had to put up to get to this point, being the 12 beating the 5, then the 12 beating the 4 they won a shootout against Hoover, 46-47. So I think Monta Vista for me is my Cinderella sweetheart in any of these brackets. On the other side, Crawford and Bonita Vista, I think is a fantastic play your strength of schedule argument and say, hey, play what you got to play, do what you got to do, struggle through the season, and the new system will reward you with still an opportunity to fight for your playoff lives. But I still think that of these permutations, I like Monta Vista's story the most. And that means absolutely nothing in the actual X's and O's of the football. That's why we got your thoughts on the D5 semifinals.
Yeah, no, I think exactly what you said. I didn't give Monta Vista much of a chance last week going to Hoover, but coming out with another 1-point win. Alexander Villanueva, their running back, has just been incredible. really has flown under the radar with some of the statistics he's put up this year. And yeah, with what they've done, who am I to say that Vista runs away with this one? I'll give Monte Vista a chance here, and I think in the bottom, it's exactly what you'd want in this division. It feels like a really evenly matched game with Crawford and Bonita Vista. So excited to see who can take that one home.
On to Division 4 semifinal number 1 is Montgomery and Westview. Semifinal number 2 is Grossmont and El Capitan. And that's where we're saying no small schools really left on any of these. Historically speaking, excuse me, in the older format of these playoffs, D4 and 5 was pockmarked with smaller schools versus bigger schools and some of those matchups. This is all mostly, if not entirely, larger schools. I don't hate it, though, because hypothetically, whoever's going to win this D4 championship is going to represent us very, very well at the state level. Montgomery, an 8 seed, Westview, a 5 seed. I like the Montgomery story because, again, they are one that played a tough strength. So did West. All of these teams,
Yeah.
I think, are getting rewarded for. Go out there, struggle in the regular season. It's going to do one of two things: either prove that you're not a good football team, or it's going to strengthen and toughen you up mentally and physically so that when you do get to the playoffs, you know how to execute over some of the teams that maybe didn't take that regular season grind quite as seriously. On the bottom, Grossmont and El Cap, brutal league schedules, tons of shootouts in the regular season. Both of them scored 40 plus in the quarterfinals. So I think that on one half of the bracket, between Westview and Montgomery, you got more of a defensive minded game. And on the other, Grossmont, El Cap might break a scoreboard. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, how about the top of the bracket being 5 versus 8 seed, two teams that had road games last week. Now this one will go back and Westview get the home game. But I still like Montgomery here. I think that they're playing their best ball at the right time of the year. And on the bottom too, I think Grossmont, not that the defense has been great, but the offense has just been so much it doesn't really matter. And I think Grossmont will find a way to do this one.
Grossmont will take. I had to check to see if I was muted or not. My apologies. Grossmont seems like, yeah, they'll take you any place, anytime,
Yeah.
anywhere, and just you don't want to bag on the defense because I'm sure they are trying their best, but the offense,
There's
the
yeah,
offense is
I
certainly
think
the one
there's
that shows up saying, "Hey, just give us 2 stops in the entirety of the game, and we've got you a dub." Because
there's something to be said about when the offense is scoring that much, probably that quickly, that often. It's not these long drives getting the defensive guys rested too. So
there you go. That's the perfect way to spin it. It's the offense's fault that the
yeah.
defense is so tired. Division 3, we've got Central Union, San Pasqual, San Diego, and Saints. Now, of this, I said San Pasqual in an earlier video this season that I posted. I think it was after week 3, maybe after week 4, that I said, is there an 0-3 or 0-4 team that could be not just a playoff favorite, but a championship favorite? My 2 teams I was talking about were RBV and San Pasqual. And I thought San Pasqual was the perfect case study in this new system of they got to play really, really tough opponents. And especially this year with Robert Renneria, they've got a newer, younger quarterback. They're evolving into a passing offense. It took them a little while to just find their rhythm, find their identity. And now I think they have that rhythm and identity. And I love them in this game. Central Union is the 1 seed. San Pasqual has to travel a very long way to get there. But I don't, Central Union, it's been a lot of low scoring, tough, hard fought, nitty gritty games. And if there's going to be one team to counter that, it is the vertical offense of San Pasqual. So I love San Pasqual's opportunity to get through. I think whoever wins that game has a very good shot at being the favorite in the finals. The other side, San Diego and Saints. San Diego's been putting up a ton of offense every round and has been a very good team all season. Saints going 0-10 has the Twitterverse just upset at everybody who doesn't like the new system is very focused on Saints in this playoff run, crying foul that they are ending people's seasons unfairly. They win 2 games, and they are now into a semifinals, 1 win away from being a 3-10 team in a championship. Your thought on these semifinals?
Yeah, I think at the top, starting with Central, they got blown out their final game of the regular season there by Brawley. They got that bye. I was interested to see how they'd refocus, and they came out on top. Probably not as well as they wanted to. A 2012 victory is fine. But yeah, I think that San Pasqual game, like what you said, I would definitely favor whoever takes that one to be the favorite in the championship game after that. I'll go Central here, but I think this is really a toss-up game. Really, this just them having the home game, I think, is what the edge is there. And I'll go with Saints on the bottom here. I mean, obviously, some familiarity. Stephen Cooper had been at St. Augustine under the old regime and now over at San Diego High. So curious to see how this one goes out. But I just think the way Saints has been, they're finally playing the right size team, the right ability team for what they are this year. It sucks they didn't win a game during the regular season. That's the system. Whatever system we have for playoffs will be argued about by coaches year in and year out. It doesn't matter whatever they choose. So they're in. They're making the most of it. Can they put it three in a row together? I think they will this weekend, and we'll see who ends up on the other side.
Cat and owner have been reunited. Elmo has saved the day and learned valuable lessons along the way. The intern is now studying up on the number of the day, and we're also going to start punctuating her learning time just with huddle footage so that she's a better analyst than me. On to Division Two. University City and Poway is one of the semifinals. Helix and Mater Dei Catholic is the other one. University City all season long has been an offensive juggernaut, and I think maybe of all the teams that had hot starts was up there with Scripps Ranch in terms of didn't get enough hype, love, whatever you want to call it, or didn't get as much hype and love as other teams that were really hot out the gate. This University City team, a pretty legitimately good Division II team. And as the one seed, obviously they were only but a couple points away from being up in D1. So you got to think that they are the incumbent. They are the team that is the favorite to make it on. Poway, though, is a really tough opponent for anybody. They play really good football. On the other side, Helix and Mater Dei Catholic, if you told me this was a D1 or an open division playoff game over the last couple of years, I'd have been like, hell yeah, I'm all in on it. But to me, this proves that there are benefits to this new system, because if you put Mater Dei and Helix just with the seasons that they have down at the bottom of D1, they probably wouldn't be in the playoffs
Yeah.
still at this point. And so we've maybe robbed ourselves of a fantastic football game with a couple of schools that it took them, you know, a little bit of an off year and a couple of weeks and transfers and all these other reasons to just, they weren't their most elite that they've ever been out the gate. But now that we are into the deep playoffs, they've gotten everything fixed. They've gotten right. The culture shown through. And so I love both of these games. I have no way to read the Helix Mater Dei game though. So Bodie, your thoughts on both of the D2 semis?
Yeah, starting up top, I think Poway here got the reward now, not reward at the time, but playing in such a difficult avocado league, they were tested when they played Lacoste. It was a 1 point game at halftime. They went through that gauntlet of playing all these open division teams, Division I teams, many of whom are still in the playoffs, and are now getting to the point where they're happy to be seeing teams outside of that league that they know, okay, we faced the best of the best in the county throughout the year. We got that bye week to reset, and they had a really impressive week 1 win over Point Loma. I think Poway is going to get University City here this week. I'm going to take that one. And then on the bottom, like what you said, Helix and Mater Dei Catholic, this was a Southern California championship game just 2, 3 years ago when Mater Dei won their back-to-back state titles. So Helix, not what they were then, same with Mater Dei Catholic, but I think they've both shown like you get in the right division, you're playing where you should be. That's the right way to kind of build it up while still having the chance to win a championship and compete for a championship. So I'll take Mater Dei Catholic in this one. I just think offensively they've really come through for most of the year. It had been a roller coaster early on with some tough scheduling, but I think that only helped them. So I'll take Mater Dei Catholic and Poway to be in the championship game.
Apologies for that. Thank you very much.
No, all good.
All right, Bodie, let's move on to the Division I champion, or not championships. I've already made up my mind on who is the Division I champion, because from the start of the season,
Well, there
I
will be a
break.
Division I championship.
Well, you know what? You're always there to pick me up, man. You never let an error turn into one. You always kick, save, and a butte. I've always been big all season, much to the Instagram comment section's dismay on the San Marcos Knights, and so it would be blasphemous for me at this point to back off of that thought process and say anything other than Knights are going to be the champs. I'll be damned though if it's not El Camino, who is also consistently, and I know there's very little, I mean, there is carryover audience from year to year, but there's very little carryover audience other like for like 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So this is a joke for maybe just in-house or like 5 other people. But historically, Michael Hobbs has been like the biggest bane of my predictive existence in terms of talking about postseason football. If there is
And I
one.
know he's let us know too. He doesn't want us to pick him anymore.
No, yeah, no, but also saying that Hobbs has been one of the most good natured about it
Yeah.
and is sarcastically jabby about I love when you don't pick us. But it's I kid you not, when we were first doing this show, the first couple years out of the gate, I tried my best to be truly analytically good at like looking at football and could not ever get a good feel for just the fact that El Camino has the intangibles figured out like no other school in San Diego. So as much as I say San Marcos is amazing, that one could end up being like El Camino by 900 points for all I know. On the other side, Granite Hills and Carlsbad.
Rematch.
Last year's version of this game came down to a 2 point conversion, overtime. Could not have asked for a better game. So look, might be some different main players, but that one, there's bad blood. There's the two teams know each other. There's plot lines. That one might be the best of all of the semifinal games at any level in terms of just the drama, tension, and intrigue going into it. So your thoughts on Division One?
Yeah, starting up top, I think San Marcos has to be the favorite. For them, they got
Congratulations,
in.
El Camino.
San Marcos got into this position because they ended up losing the Discovery Bowl, which they obviously don't want to lose to their biggest crosstown rival there, but it did set them up in a very advantageous position. And I think last week's win was super impressive. They had only played Del Norte a couple weeks prior to end the regular season, went out and dominated everything they needed to do there. I think from El Camino's point of view, this was the game I was at last week. They ran the ball 46 times and passed once. I think they really have to do something similar this week against, they're facing another high profile offense there. Mount Miguel was able to still score 27, but it wasn't the usual 50, 60 points. I think El Camino has to limit San Marcos offensively here. And can they run the ball and run it effectively enough? I think that's probably their best option here. And I think from El Camino's point of view, it's been a little bit under the radar there that this is their fifth straight semifinal. So I think obviously they want to win that title. I know Coach Hobbs wants to get that title. Maybe this is the year, but they've still been really strong in recent years. I know there's some people who've taken shots and said they haven't had a good program. I don't know, man. So signing up for five straight semifinals, whether it's Division One, Division Two, they're doing a heck of a job there. On the bottom, Granite Hills, Carlsbad. I think I look at it from the strengths here. I think Granite Hills offensively that's been their biggest strength this year. It's not last year's team. They're not in the open division. Their defense took a step backwards. It had to with all they graduated. And Carlsbad, the offense has been a little inconsistent, but I think the defense is what has kind of kept them winning games, obviously coming off a shutout of Rancho Bernardo last week. So I'll take Carlsbad here. I think some revenge on their mind, but I think whichever of those sides can step up more, we'll get this one done. And we'll see. None of the four results here would, or two results, four possible teams would surprise me in any way. So with that said, good on El Camino and Granite Hills if they make the final two.
Exactly. On to open division. Cathedral Catholic and Lincoln. It's Western League now, baby.
Yeah.
This is the first time. I'm trying to think back on all of the open division championships that we have seen played, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time that we have seen an open division championship game that is a repeat of a league game. You can do the math on that off air if you
Yeah,
want.
the only one I'll bring up quickly would be the first ever one was Mission Hills Oceanside. I'm thinking they were probably in
Oh,
league, but I'd have to check on
but
that.
but that comes with the asterisk of that was a fixed open division going into
Correct.
this,
Yeah.
correct? Like
Yeah.
that was
That year was pre-decided. Yeah.
so, wonky here, wonky there.
Yeah.
There's been some permutations. It's only been a decade. It's not like this is going back 70 versions of this, but I think it's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah.
This is definitely a power dynamic shift of is it Avo, is it Palomar, is it East? And now it's very squarely saying that 1 and 2 hands down are Western League teams. It is a rematch of a 27-7 Lincoln win. I would have said if there was any result other than what happened last week in Mission Hills, Lincoln, that this one is like I already said that this is Lincoln's championship to lose. And so I'm obviously I'm leaning towards this is again Lincoln's game. They are the dominant driving force here, but are we going to get something closer than 27-7 based off of what happened in that Mission Hills Lincoln game? Is Mission Hills just a really good team at adapting and taking punches? Is Cathedral, did they dog it in that first one intentionally? Like, I got a lot of questions. Ultimately, it's probably going to come down to I think that Lincoln just has way more firepower, way more talent, and will most. It's like a 99-1 that Lincoln's gonna win this game.
I don't
But
know if I go that high, but yeah.
well, then okay. So chime in here.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, I would be shocked if it's another 21-point game. I think too highly of Coach Doyle, Coach Montali, the staff at Cathedral, not just how good they are, but the talent they have. They made easy work of La Costa Canyon last week, a team that was undefeated, a 21-point road victory. Cathedral's been through these games. I I just have to think that this is a much closer game, and I would be honestly very surprised if it were a double-digit game either way. I think this is a really tight game, two staffs that really know each other. They've played a lot in recent years. There's so much talent on both sides, a lot of underclassmen talent really at every position. Cathedral's defensive line is an area I look at. I think that's where I thought they'd have the advantage last week over La Costa Canyon. Obviously, that proved out. And since that loss to Lincoln a couple of weeks back, Cathedral's put up 55, 55, 27, and only allowed 18 total points. So I think they've probably gotten their minds right. They've had the extra time. And this is going to be the big stage. You got to bring it. And from Lincoln's point of view, this is their third straight year there. This is Cathedral's first time being on the big stage there at Snapdragon. Obviously, they've had much success at Southwestern over the years, and that run of them and Helix there over, I think, three each over a 6-year window. So really a tight one back and forth. I'll go Lincoln here. I think that non-conference schedule is really just going to help them. They played their first 6 games out of San Diego against out of San Diego section teams, and that can really only help you. And took their lumps, learned what they needed to work on, and I think are just playing their best ball at the right time of year.
Well, since coming back and playing league, Lincoln has only allowed now 2 touchdowns in the last 6 games.
Yeah.
And so tip of the cap to the Lincoln D, their defensive coordinator, obviously a friend of the show, but is a really, really good defensive coordinator. So they're going to be ready. I say this jokingly. I think an excellent troll would be Jason Carter. For your first drive down, can you please kick a field goal? Just to prove to everybody that Lincoln is capable of kicking a field goal and
maybe on first down.
I just literally, yeah, like nice good kick return gets them to the 7. Just first play of the game, just be like, hey, look, since everybody wanted it last year, let's get it out of the way this
year.
You
want to score first, make a point.
Yeah, exactly. Make only 3 points, but just to prove that also, like, hey, the field goal team, we exercised that demon, we got it out of the way. No, but I all jokes aside, that'll be a fantastic game. And if you are somebody that is not necessarily like, if you're not dialed in on either of those schools entirely, I still recommend coming. It's a relatively cheap ticket to sit at field level in one of the best college football stadiums. Watch Achilles. Like, if you need no other reason, Kelly Smith potentially is going to win a Heisman someday in the next couple of years, and that's a reason to come watch him now, because he's going to author if you look at the last couple of guys that have come through as open division quarterbacks, they go on to play very, very big college ball. So absolutely somebody worth checking out. Bodie, thank you for being here with us. Everybody check out Bodie's work with the Union Tribune, and until next time, we will say adios.